I'm fucking starving.
The hell?
Hola. How did I accept this?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, do you want to play a match?
I don't really do the matches, to tell you the
Oh, you
truth.
don't? Oh, okay. I got an
Yeah.
invitation. That's right. I'm gonna disconnect, okay?
Yeah, no doubt. Have a good one.
All right.
Goddamn matches. Goddamn points. I just know off the top I'm gonna lose, so it don't even matter. I ain't trying to be a Tyreek Nasheed, like asking for gifts and shit. I ain't trying to pimp myself out here like that. The hate some FBA have for other people is beneficial for white T people, but that don't only apply to them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, oh boy. Because Latinos do the same thing, yes. We got our coconuts. We got our Mexican MAGAs. Straight up sellouts. Yeah, these questions can pertain to coconuts too. To the Nos Tabos.
Yo, you're muted right now, by the way.
Hello, brother. Okay, I think he's absent. But
It says there's a little icon there, the mic with the line through it. He's muted. I don't know what he's
oh,
doing.
oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, where's Miss Cleopatra? I didn't hear her respond to me disproving how Tariq Nasheed didn't grow from what he just said from his words. He didn't grow from the art of
Oh,
knacking. I'm waiting
from
on
the
him.
other day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm waiting on him.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna come back here anytime soon.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Hopefully, she learned a lot about her leader and her legal owner. Her legal owner.
No, I don't think she will. I mean, like, I don't even want to take it there, but like, you as a woman, your screen name is Cleopatra, and you hate Africans. Interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I find it very
Oh.
interesting. I don't. But I find it truly funny that a lot of these FBAs, I mean, according to my friend, almost a good majority of them are married to either YT women or YT men, and they always respond, "So what? So what?"
Exactly. Or they're married to mixed race people that have the phenotype that clearly isn't the majority of like ADOS people, which is crazy. Crazy work. But they don't get it. They're obtuse. And then they will accuse Africans and Caribbeans of being YT worshippers. It's so funny. They don't
But
see it. They just don't see it.
they're polluting their quote unquote lineage. They're polluting their quote unquote lineage, which really doesn't date back 400 years ago. Most of them can't even trace it back to 1619 in the past decade and the following decade. They can't.
I'm really just tired of it. All the different little arguments we get from them, and they just, you know what? They don't care. Well, at some point in the nearby future, they're going to stop pretending to care. They're just going to say, yeah, so what? Yeah, we love YT people now. So what? Some of them, even what's his face that comes here, Zamad something. He even said, yeah, we're going to have to work with people that you might think are YT supremacists because they care about the country, and we stand together against immigrants. What the hell?
No, do you
What?
remember Dr. Robinson? I don't even want to call him a doctor. He said, I told him the white team man doesn't give two fucks about him or his black ass or his quote
Mm-hmm.
unquote left or his quote unquote xenophobic agenda. He said, I will not allow you to keep me separate from my white tea brother. Yeah, they're all cocksuckers to the white team man. Let us all
It's
remember that.
Hey,
crazy.
Hey, listen, they show their support by supporting the laws that literally harm themselves. And it makes absolutely no sense because
It's
they
funny.
believe that the laws are going to only attack Africans and Caribbeans, right? Like this whole thing that's happening in Minnesota with Somalians is utterly insane to me because in a country where they're claiming that they're scamming the system. No one scams the system more than the people who made the system.
Exactly.
Do y'all understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, definitely.
No one has scammed the system in the United States more than the people that has scammed the system. The entire reasons why you see the way that the economy rises and falls, and the way that you're having crisis with of social programs is entirely because of them scamming the system. And then they turn around and point the finger at somebody else. It is such an obvious play that they do. And I'll give the perfect example to line it up with what's happening today. It is called the welfare queen. They blamed welfare abuse on black women some 50 years ago, and made that
Whew.
trope and continued it forever to say that black women are the ones that were using the system, when in its entirety, it was always Southern white males and females robbing the system and literally living off of
Yeah.
it for an entire lifetime.
Wake it up. Wake it up. Even I know this, and I'm in England. I'm in Europe, and I know this for a fact. It's not actually, look, BRK people are not the problem. It's all these whitey, methed out welfare queens in these flyover states that are doing madness and need that welfare money. It's not black people. It never was. It's
It's
crazy the
not.
way they've racialized the world.
The math is
Oh,
just not mathing.
Oh my gosh. Even the way they racialize the word ghetto. Like there is no one more ghetto than these trailer dwelling people who aren't black, by the way. But somehow when you say ghetto, you immediately think of BLK people. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Exactly. So let me even give you a little bit more context, which is hard for some people to understand. If you are, Afro-Caribbean, African, or let's just say generically black from other parts of the world, but you do spend time in the United States, the majority of the time, most of your time is going to be spent in a metro city. So whether it's
Mm-hmm.
like, one of the top fives, or let's say a secondary, but you're still generically going to be in a metro. I want you to travel the United States in the areas of the West Virginias, right? In any
Oh,
of those middle type states, and move around in not even suburban. What's the term that I want to use? Like just a lot of the country type spaces and towns, and you would swear that, and you would be completely shocked and not understand that you're no longer in the 50s. Those places are so undeveloped and so far behind everything. And they are the ones that are truly the drains on only the federal government, but
mm-hmm.
also the state and local coffers. Right? But they
Absolutely.
never have those conversations.
They don't. They don't. It's crazy, and they depend on the welfare systems that blue states are actually funding for them, which is insane to me. They are crazy, 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 crazy. It's mad to see. And like you go to these places that are, listen, it's just whitey people, and they're on meth, they're on smugs of every single kind. They don't want to work. They have no intentions of working, but somehow blacks are the problem. Make it make sense. It
Somehow,
doesn't make sense.
exactly. Somehow blacks are the problem.
Oh my gosh.
And the here's what the worst thing is. You see, if you go back to 2016, somehow our timeline shifted, and you go back to the conversation that what was it, Hillary Clinton was having. Everyone fried her for saying the deplorables. She was just describing basically what I was explaining and telling you about. She understood that there's an underbelly of this part of the United States that is so far behind the rest of the country, and that is the real problem. And what she was trying to offer was solutions to get them to kind of rebuild and come back
Yeah.
into the fold of what everyone is doing to move forward. I don't know if any
Absolutely.
of you guys have ever been there, but if you go to China right now, don't let them
Mhm.
lie to you. China is so light years far ahead right now.
Oh
It
yeah,
is
definitely.
insane. You'd be stunned. You'd be
Yes.
stunned in shock. That is what America's supposed to be. And they are literally holding themselves back based off skin color. It is utterly insane.
It really is. And it's really sad to me how what's crazy is I think it's the only country where race is the same thing as class. Like class is based on race. This is really, really, really crazy stuff. Like really, really like
Yeah.
over here in Europe, like there's an overlap definitely. But like you had
Hmm.
like thousands of like hardworking black people being denied housing, like basic things. Like class was based on race in that country, and it exists to this day. The obsession is just it really boggles the mind. Like I feel bad. I feel bad for them, but they don't see it. They don't see the scam. And you know what concerns me? I said this the other day, and a lady yelled at me for saying it. But honestly, I think it relates to the conversation. You know how in 1930s Germany, after the First World War, how the
Hmm.
economy wasn't great, people weren't feeling good, young people had very little prospects, if any, right? But
Hmm.
a group of minorities like the JEW and the Romani people were doing okay-ish, and a lot of Germans,
Hmm.
YT Germans, looked at them like, "Oh, how come you guys are doing okay, but we're suffering right now?" I think there's a parallel between that and some of these FBAs that are being manipulated by Mr. Nasheed and his like right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they got mad at me for saying this, saying,
Absolutely.
"Oh, you're calling us Yahtzees?" No, I'm saying the rhetoric is very similar. And as well, these people are doing phonology. They're making hairline jokes. I can tell you're a tether because of your hairline, your accent, the way you look, your nose shape, your skull shape. Guys, this is what Yahtzees did to whitey looking people when they were looking for JW and BLK blood. This is phrenology. Like it's
Exactly.
really scary stuff, and
Exactly.
no one else sees it. I'm going crazy, and I'm going insane. And when I try and say this, they say, oh, why are you calling us Yahtzees for? They don't understand what they're doing. They don't get it. They're being misled. The same way
And
YT Germans were
completely
misled.
misled.
Yeah.
Completely misled. And to me, I just feel like there's a hollowness in how they view themselves, character, and so forth. So the example that I would give is, take for example a lot of, well, let's just say specifically Caribbeans, right? So Caribbeans can come to the United States and there is something that they would reference back to. So for example, what I mean by that is take whether it's a Haitian or a Jamaican or Trinidadian, for example. When you see them in the United States, trust me, those same YT people see them as black people, period, right? But then there's an additional layer where you can say, oh, well, no, I'm from here originally, or my family's from there. And this is, what we bring to the potluck dinner, take, for example. Right? Because they don't necessarily have that variance, right? That additional layer that you can say, oh, this is part of me, because the equivalent of that for them should have been this measurement all the way back to the 1600s or the 1500s, where you could say, I am from X tribe, or I am from what is now this state, and this, that, and the third. And that truly, truly, truly bothers them. I think that's a whole nother, conversation of a deep psychological, trauma that goes on there. But to me, it's just like there's something that they're trying to grasp onto. Right? And exactly what you said, they're being fooled by the rhetoric of these white tea people, and they're using that to fall into these traps.
And you know what's really sad is that it's funny you point out that some of them do have that inferiority, but it's like you also get the same ones that say we're proud of ourselves. We have this long history, and they should be, by the way. I'm not saying they shouldn't be. They absolutely should be. Like, I read Black history worldwide, but it's like they'll say they're proud. No one can stand against them. They're the best black people on this planet. So why do they get so upset when black people from other backgrounds just exist in their space? Why do they get so intimidated? They get territorial.
They're
Territorial.
xenophobic. They're xenophobic hyenas.
Let's take it out of the context of what we're talking about. You do understand that there are people who are some of the least proud people and some of the most self-conscious people, and how they show that to you is this bravado pride in saying, oh, I'm good and I'm okay and this, that, and you understand there's a psychology behind that,
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely.
It's like
definitely.
a false sense of pride and so on and so forth. I believe that that's where that's coming from. The crazy part about it is, like you said, there is so much that Black Americans have contributed to this world, not only in the United States, but that has spread worldwide, that they absolutely should be highly proud of it and so on. Why are you trying to use that as a weapon? Problem.
It's sad. It's sad. There was even the other day, I feel bad talking about, but there was this lady who was like, she was Afro-American, and she was like, she was upset because she was in makeup, right? And some of the makeup influencers that were on the latest campaign for this company, that company, were like Caribbean, African, Latina. And she was like, as an Afro-American woman, my roots are in this country, we need to take the space back from them. And I'm thinking, what? Why are you so, what's going on here? The majority of BLK people in Hollywood, like celebrity, whatever, even politics, are Afro-American. The numbers of like immigrant black people are quite small to this day even. So why do you feel like immediately like you're being one-upped? Why do you feel insecure? Why can't you stand in your history and be like, yeah, this is me and I'm happy with myself. I'm going to work hard to get the same thing other people are going to get today. I don't get it. Never, you know what, it's crazy. Never in my life did I think, whenever I met an Afro-American person, when I was like doing drama, when I was doing all these different classes, I didn't think, oh wow, this girl's Afro-American. Some of the best things on this planet Afro-American. What am I going to do, guys? Oh my gosh, I'm so intimidated. What am I going to do? I was just inspired. I felt inspired by them. I didn't feel this need to just one-up them or bash them or anything, or like try and defend my territory. I just was happy that they were there. I was happy to meet another BLK person.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Exactly.
Where is this coming from?
Don't get it either.
Oh.
So something else I want to point out, though, that I think is pretty interesting is try to figure out where, anytime you encounter them, these FBAs, just try to figure out which part of the country they're coming from. I'm going to tell you this. majority of them are not coming from northern states.
No, they're not.
I want you to understand that.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but they're not from northern states. I know this. Yeah,
You
yeah,
understand
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
to you?
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to, so it's so interesting. It's pretty parallel to what I would say how white tea people who live in highly predominantly white tea areas and have no consistent experience with and intermingling with people from a bunch of different cultures and what their outlook on life is. And then I would, like I said, show the parallel example of most of those FBAs are not going to be coming from northern states. They're coming from southern states where they typically tend to have less interaction with all these different people that we're talking about.
Yeah. And they can be made to be the boogeyman and all this stuff, and they're taking something from me. They're taking this and that from me, and I deserve it. And it's just scarcity mindset, and it's really sad to see. We're fighting for
Yeah,
crumbs in
absolutely.
the system. Crumbs!
Absolutely.
They don't
Absolute
get it.
crumbs in the system.
Oh my gosh. And because when you actually ask them, when they talk about like being how their scholarships are being given to immigrant black people and their employment opportunities and their this and their that, when you actually get down to the bottom of things, right? It's not that their HBCU slot was given to an immigrant or this and that and the third. It was that we had the nerve to be in the same space as them. They weren't being denied. We just happened to exist in the same space as them. And we're drawing attention to ourselves by being, I don't know, exotic or something. It's really
Exactly.
crazy. It's not, and I'm looking for these politicians that are apparently against reparations. I'm looking for these Caribbeans that apparently are denying Afro Americans this and that in politics. I was looking for these examples. I couldn't find one. I really couldn't. It's like, guys, this is really scary scapegoating, like 1930s Germany level of scapegoating, like really, really bad, like really bad. And it's just like, look at this group. They're why you're suffering in this country. They're why, this and that's happening to you. It's them. They're the reason why you're suffering. And it's like, it's a scam. It's just a scam. And nobody sees it. It's sad.
Nobody sees it.
It's really, really sad. Because, and this is what I think.
Yeah, it is.
Just carrying on from that. I think, again, I got shouted at last time I said this in a live, but I don't really care. I think, like you said, a lot of these people, they're from the South. They're from places that might not have the best of developments, best of educations, best opportunities, right? So they're going to have that scarcity mindset. So I think they know who is deep down, beyond the BS, right? They know who is responsible for their suffering in this country and their descendants of those people that actually made them suffer, right? They know who created the system that makes them suffer. They cannot go and confront those people because they know stuff is going to get real. They're going to be in big trouble. No YT person with any bit of privilege in America will let you talk down to them. No way. There's no way. What do?
No
They
way.
take out their frustration on the nearest closest person. Whoever's in their proximity, they'll take their rage out on them. The same thing happens with, I hate saying this, but I've seen mixed people in these lives that get bashed because they happen to be mixed in this space and they're the closest thing to whiteness. It's just about who's closest to them. It's convenience. It's not about actual justice. It's about convenience. It's sad.
I completely agree
Too
with
much.
that. It is absolutely too much. And the question now is, what are we going to do about it? Like as a group and as a people, because I agree with you. I mean, the truth of the matter is the way the world has been constructed, it is literally we're essentially all the same based on a visual context of skin color. Right? Everyone recognizes and understands that there are variances in all of us, no different than there are variances in YT people, right? No, Swedish people are definitively different than, people from Russia, take for example, right? Is no different than an Angolan being different from a Jamaican, take for example. However, there is still that contextual camaraderie between, people of color based on the fact of we're all sharing the same level of oppression. The difference is when and where are you experiencing it and how often are you experiencing that?
Yeah, I just only have something to say, and that is why the FBAs they don't want to delineate, and now let me explain why. The reason why is that they're all mindless honeybees who follow a guy, Tariq Nasheed, who made the book called The Art of Mackin. Again, I encourage everyone here to go and buy the book. Face it, he already
Oh,
knows what I'm going to bring up about these FBAs. And not even Tariq Nasheed could defend even his own words. So he says, there are many contributing factors that make women want to become whores. And in most cases, these females are whores long before the pimp gets to them. If you look at the way these middle school and high school girls dress and carry on in different cities across the country, you can see the ones that are potential ores. Now, I want to read to you guys. Now, this was Isaac Hayes the third who brought this point up against Tariq Nasheed, who Tariq Nasheed attacked him unprovoked, and after Isaac Hayes brought this up, Tariq Nasheed. Oh no, an FBA tried saying, "Oh, Tariq Nasheed, he's grown as a person. He's grown as a person from his Art of Mackin days. He's done this. He's a good man. He's a why are you all attacking him? Blah blah blah." I don't have time for bullshit, respectfully. And so I showed her what Tariq Nasheed said out of his own words. It's on Twitter. He says, "Quote, you." He gave his spell right, but let me read what he said. He said, "You lies keep failing, and you are
oh,
getting desperate. I wonder why you sassy dudes can't take your L with dignity." This is what Tariq Nasheed
oh,
says. He can't
oh, man.
he can't spell properly, and not only that, he deflects and he can't respond either. I didn't see any growth because any sane man, any one of us, if we were caught saying something maybe from a long time ago and we changed, we'd obviously say that, oh, yeah, I said those words back in my younger or inexperienced years. But I've grown as a person. I've grown as a person. I do not condone that behavior of what I said, blah, blah, blah. You get the gist. Tariq Nasheed did none of that. All he did was prove Isaac Hayes right, and he proved that all of these FBAs are nothing more but deflectors who get mad when you call them out about either one their YT daddy, two their other daddy who's their pimp and legal owner Tariq Nasheed, or they get mad when you just say pure facts to them and they're just willfully ignorant. I don't have time for ignorance. I really don't. I've given these FBAs too many chances of grace. I'm too tired of it. I'm too tired for it. I have no time for games. So that's why I always get straight to the point. And then again, they always love to crash out. They always crash out
They
once he
do.
debunked them. That's what I love and joy. I
You
love
heard her
what they
the
were
other
doing.
day when she was here saying that is a lie. You're a liar. You're a bold-faced liar. Why are you lying for? You're just lying. And it's like nothing we said were lies. They were all truths. You just didn't like hearing it.
Exactly. And that
Just
is
don't
my
like hearing
point.
it.
It's too much. And what we're talking about, what we're going to do about these people. Look, I think my concern, because here's one thing: online trash talk is one thing. I don't particularly care about that bit. Like whatever, like Bushmeat, dirty, mudhot, whatever. Like that's just banter. What I care about is the unhinged people that will actually attack immigrant, like BRK people from immigrant background, second, third generation, whatever. That is my biggest concern. That is my biggest concern. And I think it's going to happen. It's happened before. There was a video of this young guy jumping like this homeless guy that was from like Barbados originally, or like on the New York, I think, trains, whatever. He was jumping him, confronting him. I don't know, all this crazy stuff. There's guys on these lives who pulled out pew pews on live to try and like intimidate, African and Caribbean BLK people. Even me, one of my first lives when I was in these lives, right? There was this unhinged guy who bragged about being an M charge, if you catch my drift, and then he threatened me.
Was it
Hmm.
Lightbringer? Was it the Pretendian
Bye.
Lightbringer?
No, no. Lightbringer is actually nice to me, which is really crazy. I don't know why, but he's quite nice to me for some strange reason. No, it was this guy called King something. It was a Pretendian live though, and I was confronting this Asian guy because he was trolling this Asian guy. This Asian guy was like, he was basically like setting out traps for not very intelligent people to fall for his BS. And I was like, look, you are taking advantage of people that probably have a cognitive issue. Like, that's really bad. And when I started to talk to this Asian guy, I was like to him, what you're doing is like really wrong. Like, these people don't know any better. They don't have any education. They're falling for these traps. And he was like laughing with me, and he was like slowly revealing his true position. And I was like to him, so you're saying that the SLAV trade never existed in any form, right? He's like, well, not in no form, but it's not what they say it is. And he was like debating with me. And while we're talking, this random guy just comes in and says, "You fucking bitch!" Like starts crashing out hard, calling me all the names under the sun, saying that I'm dirty, I'm nasty, Africa's dirty and nasty. He's gonna pull up on Africans and do all this crazy stuff to us. That my at the time my BLK American boyfriend should beat me. He should, if we had a kid together. He talked about me and my boyfriend, by the way, at the time, and he's like, "Oh, if you have a kid, I wouldn't let you tell my kid that he's African. What the hell is that?" And saying just crazy stuff, saying that I should be beaten, just mad stuff. And then one of his own pretendian brothers came and checked him and said, "You're talking to a woman like that?" And he said, "What? You're a simp. You're pathetic. We don't care if it's a woman or not." And I'm like, you need to just stop. You need to just stop. What are you doing? And but yeah, these people are unhinged. And honestly, I think the ones that are dumb enough to admit their crimes on live, you should report them to the authorities, I think.
I'll tell you this, Lightbringer,
Yeah.
I've dealt with him previously. He even admitted it on another live to another good friend of mine. He quote unquote on a live an African back in some 2000 or 1990 something. I don't know. He said he's 26. I don't buy
How
it.
old is he?
He says he's
What?
26, and if that's true, I don't believe it's true at all. I'm only like 5, maybe 6 or 7 years younger than him, but I have more common sense than him. I mean, from a guy who believes that Atlanta is Atlantis, I can't take him seriously. I'm sorry, I truly can't. And he says, "Look at the landmass of Atlanta and compare it to Atlantis." I'm sorry.
I feel bad for him, and I think he knows that. That's why he's nice to me, because honestly, I do feel bad for him. Like he's a professional gambler, so he says, and he's going through it. I can tell he's going through it, and I don't want to beat on a guy when he's down, so I just let him be. Just all the fantasies that come out of his mouth. He's from here, he's from there. He's this under Atlantean king from the seas. Yeah, sure, go on, have fun, go on.
At this point, I might as well just let
You got it.
Lightbringer have his fun. At this point, he'll come to see the truth eventually. I thought he never would, but now he starts to claim to be a Moor and a Turkish Moor and all of these different identities. Just like my brother, pick one. Pick one.
So he's playing hot and cold, getting close to Africa.
And I told him that he's African. I told on another live. Everybody clapped for Lightbringer when he finally realized he was African. Then he says, "Oh, me no African, no soy africano, nunca, imposible." Then he said Morocco was in America. He said Almorica. I can't spell it properly. Almorica was in America, or whatever the hell that bullshit theory was.
Just let him have it. Just let him have the fun. Whatever he wants to say, just let him have it. Be nice. Be kind.
You said what? You mind elaborating? I'm not saying the statement is wrong, but can you elaborate?
Well, yeah, I know a lot of Black Europeans were considered like Moors, and they actually came from the Americas. And you have the North Africans from Asia.
So they came from the Americas?
Yeah.
Like what time period was this?
Land of Mu.
Sorry, say again.
The land of Mu.
Right. So I was saying, what time period was this?
It was before colonialism. I know that much.
There's lots of time periods before colonialism. Pick a century or a time or a decade.
I mean, they're still here. I mean, I can't really put a time on something that was always infinite.
And they're from North Africa, yeah?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
There are some from Africa, but there it's not exclusively just African. That's why
Okay.
when you hear the word Moor, they're not talking about specifically African. If you go look up the definition of Moor.
Okay, I want to explain something briefly. There are only truly two types of Moors. The Amazigh, the Amazigh or Bedouin people who currently reside in Mauritania and Morocco, and then the actual Black Moors, who were literally only the slaves and serfs and people who fought in the army of the Almoravid and Almohad dynasties or empires called the Haratim people. They still exist today. And I believe they form a couple 100,000 to a million
Yeah,
today in
you have the
Mauritania.
Iberian Moors that were shipped over to the Americas. You have the ones that came from Arabia that got mixed with the Berber people in North Africa. Like they're all different types of Moors.
Can I add something really quickly? So,
Sure.
Hi.
I'm
so
still trying to figure out the time period of all this. I'm not saying it's
right,
wrong, but it's just interesting that we don't have a time period of when this occurred and so on and so forth. Nothing can be infinite. There's got to be a starting point.
of course, but
Yeah,
let's
When's
put that
that
aside
starting
for a
point?
second.
that's what I'm
Hi,
It's
saying.
not.
Buck.
Like
It's
there's
not about. It's not about the reality of the situation. What these people are doing, what the Moors, Pretendians, and all these other people who are doing, they're shopping for a glorious creation myth, a glorious past. These are people who have
Thank you.
deep feelings of inadequacy. They don't like who they are. They don't like where they come from, and these people are shopping for a glorious story to come from.
and who
So,
are we actually?
well, I know
Hey,
who I
Faye.
am.
Hey, Faye. Faye, do
Yo.
you remember what I said earlier? I think this gentleman really just nailed it on the head. And here's the
Yeah.
bad thing about it is we as a collective on this planet should genuinely understand that emotion of an inadequacy that they have
Mhm.
and give them grace as far as that's concerned. My man, you have nailed it. It's something that I know and I understand. I hope you all can hear my accent. I want to be as clear as I can. Was born in Jamaica, left that country as an infant. I spent my entire life in the United States. Understand? I've been in the United States for over 50 years. So this is not something new to me. What you know, the saying that goes, you know, something or someone like the back of, yeah, this is who I grew up around. My
Mhm.
man, you just nailed it.
Yeah. So I think
Who
these
did
are
you say that
tragic
you grew up
figures.
around?
But when we're talking to a more pretendian, an FBA, these are tragic figures. These are people who feel deeply inadequate in their day to day life. So in order to diffuse that inadequacy, they seek a creation story that is glorious, and they all their you know they feel strength because of this story that they've concocted. It doesn't matter that it's not true. What the heavy lifting is done by it gives them something to feel good about, and it's really kind of a sad thing that we're dealing with here. So I just wanted to put that out there. These
And
are these
who
are very psychologically fragile people.
and who are these people? Are you referring to?
Moors, Moors and Pretendians.
The
And what
FBA's.
what what are they really then?
You know what is actually, this
No,
is
I'm saying like
really,
who are they? Like if they're not that, then if you guys are saying that what they're not. No, Faye actually interrupted you.
Tempo.
this, you know something, I'm just, I'm I can't. I really can't. I'm saying this as someone like, look, guys. I'm actually I'm East African. I have Egyptian DNA. I actually modern day. I share modern day profiles with Egyptians, by the way, Nilotic, and I have North African and Arab blood. I probably have more ancestors, and I'm Portuguese as well. It's nothing special. I don't get why it's this mystical heritage thing now that people are building up. Like, guys, I don't get it. I really don't get it, guys.
Do you know how
I'm
much you have
actually
to
gonna
hate
crash out.
yourself? You know how much you have to hate yourself to look in the mirror. You see a black person looking back at you, and you say, "No, I'm not African. I am Indian. I am." And you want to change, rewrite history to have a glorious past, a glorious creation story. These people, like they cling to these creation myths like a religion.
Well,
And
maybe have you ever considered that maybe some of them are really telling the truth?
no,
I'm not gonna. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're wrong. I get. Maybe we're wrong. But just I'm just gonna say one thing just quickly. Not everyone can be lying at the same time about the true origins of this group of people, right? I was a kid. I went to Spanish City when I was a kid. I spent a lot of time in Spain, and we saw pictures of the Moors. They are North African and Arab, Berber, a little bit sub-Saharan. Some of them. Most of them don't look like Adolf's people today. They just don't.
correct.
They are quite lighter skinned. Again, North African, Arab, Berber, a little sub-Saharan, a little bit, not a lot.
Were
And
were Europeans always white skinned?
no, they were swarthy. They were dark. They had curly hair, olive skin, but that doesn't mean black, does it?
So you're saying
Here's the thing. Here's the
they
thing.
changed over time,
Truth,
right?
truth is correspondence with reality. This is how you can tell if something is true. Listen,
No,
it's
but
very
let
easy
me
to tell you what's true. Does
Can
it
I ask you
correspond
a
with
question?
reality? If it doesn't correspond with reality, then it's not true.
No, I just
This is
want.
why everything you say can be discarded into the
Well, no,
dustbin
I just want you
because
to
it does
think
not
in a different
correspond to
perspective.
anything in reality.
So what
So
I'm
go ahead.
asking Faye is, so let's look at this angle. We can agree that Europe
Yes.
was not white skinned once upon a time.
When
We can
You're,
Europeans
you're,
weren't white skinned. We can agree on that, right?
could I
Okay,
could I
But
put
there
could
are
I push
there are
back on could I
multiple. No, she's asking me just.
hang
But
on.
there are multiple kinds of white tea, though. There are Italians are very tanned because they're North African heritage.
No,
Very tanned.
what I'm asking
Hang on.
is,
You don't even have to go that far back. Europe is a recent description of a region of the world. Yeah. So
no,
Europe includes no, it's not recent description of that.
yeah, I mean Europe
So
is very recent.
a thousand. Hang on. 1,000 years ago,
Mhm.
the,
I can't hear you.
You're dropping out a little bit.
You're dropping
I
it out.
my no problem. I said 1,000 years ago, Europe was a description of the region of a particular region of the world.
Are you asking or are you telling?
No, I'm asking you. It's a question. It's a question
And you're okay,
because
so
you said no to my point. My point was that this. I'm asking you about Europe. You generically said Europe wasn't always white people, and I'm pushing back on that, saying that that's actually not really true. Right? That statement that you're trying to make is not really true. So now I'm trying to define Europe so that we're all on the same page. Like like Faye said, if you want to, if Europe, Italy is a part of Europe, and there's specific regions of Europe, of Italy, where you had darker skinned people based on the mixing with North Africans.
well, there
Yeah,
wasn't just one.
that's not the same thing for example, Sweden or Switzerland.
It
You
actually
understand?
was
Like those regions.
in
Okay.
Norway and Ireland. Like there were 40 dark skinned people there once upon a time.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I'm not negating what you guys are saying. I'm just getting you to look at a different angle that Black people are not just indigenous to Africa. We're indigenous everywhere. Like as a whole, we all come from Earth. We're all humans. Like wherever the sun touched, that's where a Black person was discovered by a whitey person. So I do agree that to an
And where did
extent,
white tea people come from then?
well, they came from Turkey in that area where the recessive trait started. You know how white people was created, right? You know about the science behind the steppe people and them being part of a certain ice glacier and stuck there for a certain amount of time, and they were able to be adapted and change colors over time periods. And then once the ice glaciers melted, they were able to leave and then intermix with everyone around the world. which is why
Where
most
did Asian
where the Asian people
where
come
did
from.
people of the
Well,
yeah
I
and
will
people of the
say
Orient?
I believe for sure that every person on this planet right now that we call Black, Asian, African, European, all of those people were actually dark skinned, that like medium to dark brown skinned people with all different types of hair.
How far back are you looking,
Like
man?
how
100%.
diverse, like how like all
Exactly.
diverse.
100%. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Hang
and
on,
I
hang
do
on.
think,
So
and
that
I
we're
do
clear.
think,
100% I agree with
yeah,
that.
yeah. And so
But
what I
you
do
have to
think,
recognize how far back in time that is.
yeah, we're talking
Right?
about.
Everything that we're dealing with right now is approximately 1,000 years old.
Well, the only reason why
What you are talking about is like 50 to 100,000 to 200,000 years ago.
no, that's not even like that. It's not
Yes.
that long. It was literally like
Yes, it is,
no
ma'am. Yes, it is genetically.
well, genetically, white T skin, that actual that recessive trait did not start until maybe 6,000 years ago. It did not dominate the planet until maybe the 1500s.
Let's even take
It
that
takes
math as
time.
that's
No, what
okay.
I'm saying
That's
that
okay. That's
it
okay.
actually no. What I'm
Let's
saying is
even
it actually takes
let's even take
time
that
for a
math that you're
smaller
using.
trait.
Hang
No, what
on.
I'm saying it
Correct.
takes time for a smaller
Let's
group of
use the
people
math that you're
to
using. It still
actually
doesn't
go and actually
coincide with
dominate
it.
a certain type of tribe, and then integrate and assimilate into that tribe into a point where you have them looking a different type of color that takes thousands of years to accomplish. So it wasn't like they just came out of those
Even if we
things and then
use
they
the
came out
math that you're
as fast as
saying,
they're doing.
even if we're using the math that you're saying, it does not coincide time wise with the context of the conversation that we're having. The context of
Actually,
the conversation that we're having
the context
is
of
no
how it
more than
goes.
1,000 years ago.
Well,
You
no,
just said
because
about 6,000 years ago,
yeah,
right?
because we're looking at the gradual amount of time. So if you're looking at the gradual amount of time,
I'll even triple it for you, which is not true, 100% not true. But I'll even triple it for you and say that the context of the conversation we're having right now, all of these social implications are 3,000 years ago, which is utterly false. The math is still. That's the point that I'm trying to get at, so that we can all have like an honest conversation about what we're dealing with.
yeah, I'm having an honest conversation with you and saying that once upon a time, everybody on this planet was dark skinned with multiple different hair textures, and that no, it was not 100,000 years ago. Well, you might need to go. You can go look up. They're called the steppe people. You can actually go research the steppe people, who they were, and how they were able to integrate with Europeans at the time, who were hunter gatherers, who were actually the dark skinned indigenous people of that land. And the reason why Europe was even called Europe in the first place is because of a Phoenician princess who was also a dark skinned woman. So, I mean, like, well, the Phoenicians and the Etruscans were actually the original. The Phoenicians and the Etruscans were actually the original Greeks. Before the Greeks,
Hey,
the
this is
white
what you were
Phoenicians
talking about
actually came
earlier.
in. It's very simple to, if you look at everyone around the planet was black, and you understand the migration of the steppe community, the steppe people, and where they came out and how they migrated, it goes exactly with the historical events and everything that has been documented up until that time. I said the steps, steppe. Well, well, you gotta understand that. Right. So yeah, and so that's where she gets her lighter tone from. It comes from that um haplogroup. Like it has to be a certain a trait that you have to possess that light skin, right? And that comes from the steppe people. That's why when most Europeans take their DNA, that's going to show up versus like a regular person like, me or anybody that's medium to tan looking. they're not going to show up like steppe. It's going to say either they're European, but they're ancient European. They're not a steppe and a ancient European. Like for me, if I were to do my DNA, I'm 100% for sure like Gaelic, Nordic, Irish, all those people are going to pop up. But again, those are not going to be modern day Europeans. That's going to be ancient Europeans before they were integrated by the steppe people.
Okay, man. Now you said
How are you so confident in that though?
no
It's not
success.
What
about
is it that
it's not
makes you
about being confident.
makes you
It's
believe
just
that?
no, it's
No.
not.
I'm not saying it in that man. Hang on. Do us a favor. Like we're having a conversation, so it doesn't always have to be defensive. I'm not attacking you. What I'm saying is I'm asking that question to get an understanding that what would lead you to believe of what you just expressed. What is the proof that makes you say, hey, it's not a modern day, Irish people, et cetera, that you just described. It's a older, different section of those people. What's that set of details that leads you to believe that?
Well, if it goes based off migration, and especially like just with history books, if you go read about the steppe people, you will understand they carry that trait of white skin. And it tells you the history of how white skin even got incorporated into Europe in the first place. And yes, that started 6,000 years ago.
So I think you're misunderstanding the question I'm asking you. I'm not saying the information that you are stating is a falsehood or incorrect. I'm asking you, what is your proof that makes you say, I know my DNA comes from that versus this? What you just expressed didn't explain that.
Well, I mean, naturally, like, I don't know. I guess you guys were talking about DNA, and if we talk about DNA, it's going to say Black Americans. They just come from two people. They're going to say West African, and then they're going to say European, and the Europeans are always going to be Scottish or Ireland. That's just that's not me. I don't agree with it, but is that what the paper says? Yes. But I feel like there's some context that are lost when it comes to DNA, right? Because even if we talk about haplogroups and all of that, if you really go read the details into how these people are actually coming up with a theory of how people are even categorized, right? That's already based off of that's already shut down by the foundation of a racist person, right? Because they're doing the whole DNA based off of a racist guy named Samuel Morton, who came up with this idea that white people were superior, and then everyone else followed through this mongoloid and negroid prototype, right? Which means that their brains are smaller. So if we talk about like the out of Africa theory, if we talk about DNA, of course these are theories, right? But when you take these theories, right, and you put it alongside with history, and you start reading the actual archives, you read the newspapers, you read like different books, like if you can even go pull up the Book of Wonders from in I think it's in Turkey, the old libraries. You'll clearly see from thousands of years ago, everyone had a certain skin tone. And then over time, they were lightened, but it didn't happen like boom, like 6,000 years ago, white people were born and then like the whole world was white. Like it didn't happen that way. It actually happened by a course of them riding horses. If nobody understands that white recessive skin tone happened because they were stuck in glaciers. And because of that, they had to learn how to domesticate animals, because you cannot walk on ice. You can't. So they had to teach their children at a very young age to learn how to ride a horse. When they came out of those glaciers, nobody on the planet knew how to ride a horse. Nobody, not even the Chinese. No one. So they were the first pioneers when it comes to riding and domesticating animals. So when we talk about Europeans and how they are the main people that did slavery and stuff, we got to be precise on who are we talking about. Are we actually talking about Europeans, or are we talking about the descendants of steppe people that procreated with the Europeans? Because those are two different types of people.
Now, Devon, you made a statement and said that the Etruscans were they came from the Greeks and that they are Greeks.
No, the Greeks came from them. They
No,
never
they did
like
not. No, they did not.
they never wanted to assimilate. It was kind of like the Greeks came in, stole I mean, it's just like how all white people do. They go into a community, they steal their stuff and credit it for themselves. They've been doing this for 6,000 years, and that
Sir,
is from the
I'm sorry,
stem.
ma'am. You realize that the Greeks, they were already beginning to have their own. They already had their own identity long before the Etruscans.
No,
Around.
the Etruscans language was actually the Greek language. That's where the Greek got their language from. Majority of the culture and even like the political standpoint of how they run their government was all from the Etruscans. The Etruscans were just absorbed by them. But again, like even if you talk about the Greeks, when the Greeks even became Greek, or when the Vatican even became the Vatican, that's when the dominant white tea skin was not a recessive trait anymore in that region, because they already had mingled with these tribes over and over again, to the point where they were able, like if you go to Greece right now, I mean not now, but back in those times, Greece looked like America. Like it was all kinds of people of different colors and different races running around there. It wasn't just one set of group of people. Just like in Egypt, like it wasn't just one set of group of people. It was all different colors. Once upon a time, like everyone was black, and then the steppe people came out and they intermixed with everybody, and they became what you call it, like intermixed, and then now you got all these different people with medium tones, bright red hair. You got blue eyes and green red hair over here. That is a recessive trait that came from a certain small group of people that came out of a certain region that had a very harsh climate that gave them that recessive trait.
Now,
Because they had to survive.
ma'am, I just want to say this, that the Greeks did not get their language from the Etruscans. It's not related at all. Rather, the Greeks influenced Etruscan and Latin. But yeah, I mean, it's simple as that. And then again, you realize that the oldest bone was found in Africa. You realize that, and then we can go. Let's go see together when the oldest bone was found in Europe. The oldest bone found in Europe was dated about I believe it was said 1.4 million years ago. Correct. But it says the oldest remains are tooth and bone fragments from the Bachokiro cave in Bulgaria, dating back to about 45,000 to 47,000 years.
Yeah, I'm
Now
pretty sure when
compare
they
that
tested it, it's
to
gonna say it's a negroid.
now let's compare that to the oldest bone found in Africa. Okay.
I want us to eventually wrap this part up, please. It wasn't
Yeah, I
really
do. I want to
about
return back
like
to the
origins and
FBAs.
ancients. Yeah, because it was mostly about community tension. I'm here to say this person is right or wrong. I don't want it to skyrocket into debates of genes and world history and what one person thinks, the other person thinks. That is going to be a whole different thing. I don't want to get into it tonight. I wanted to talk about, well, the hosts, Vibes, wanted to speak about tensions between different diasporic groups.
In that regard, I feel as though a lot of this it was really started by a lot of these FBAs and pretendians. A lot of them, I promise you, a lot of them. Before the first time I got on this app, I never saw an African live attack FBAs or African Americans. I never saw that a day in my life. And however, I did saw lots of intentionally and provoking lives and panels that were started by
Oh
FBAs
my
and pretendians.
gosh.
I
Here we
It was
think
started
go.
by
some
them.
people probably, just like with my ancestors, we were never taught that we were African. We were taught that we were this land. Like
Sir, I'm sorry.
you can't fault
I
that other people have gone generations and generations, and their family have told them a certain narrative. Like as much as you don't like that you can't take that away from them.
No, it doesn't really
You
matter
said that
what I want.
you said your family told you that you were from this land. Is that what you said? I thought I heard
Yes,
that. Am I
yes,
wrong?
yeah. From great
Is it
grandmother all the way on both sides of the family. Great grandmother, great great
is it
grandmother,
yeah?
grandmother,
Is
mother.
it possible that their information about where they're from only goes back? So is that
Well,
possible?
I can't discredit their lived experience because they were here.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. That's not what I'm asking you.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. I said I cannot discredit their lived experience. If that's their lived experience and that's what
That's
they're choosing to teach their children, who are you to say
that's
that
that's
they do it?
that's such the day and age that we live in.
It sucks. It sucks
Hi,
for
hi.
everybody
But
else,
what's the
but like,
skepticism about? I don't understand that.
Hello, Mr. Tree. Introduce yourself. Name, age, ethnicity. Anything
This
else?
Black American brother. You said age. I'm 35. 35.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, resume what you were talking about.
Skepticism, like this is something that Black Americans have maintained before this whole TikTok existed. Before y'all got on the internet disrespecting Black Americans, it is well known that Black Americans have an oral tradition about the indigenous peoples that we descend from. That's well known. Do you believe that? That's not a
Sorry,
debate.
sorry. You're black, Tree?
I said I'm
yeah,
a
he's
Black
just
American.
Southern.
Okay. I was
That's how
for a
Southern
minute.
people look.
For a minute, I was a bit like,
And
but
you,
no, it's
what are
okay.
and what are you, Faye?
Oh, I'm a mixed person from Europe.
Okay, so you're European. Yeah, you do sound European to me.
Yes.
I think it's just the black, like we think of like Black Americans as this one group of people, and it's like a multi like ethnic group, and even like within the Black American community, you got some over here that are like they identify as Africans. You got some over here that identify as Creole. You have some over here that identify as Indigenous. So when we think about Black Americans, I think everybody has this one like picture in their head on what history books taught them, and then you have Black Americans coming from different regions all around the country, and they're having their own lived experience. Like I can't speak on a Black American that was born in the Chesapeake area because their foods are different from my foods. If our family came from the southern part of Mississippi and Louisiana, we call ourselves Creole. Like that's just what it is. And at the end of the day, like if that type of family from that region decide to call themselves a certain thing, then I don't understand the issue because we do have Black Americans who
It's not,
do
but Divine,
identify
the thing
as
is, you
African
don't have to go into all of that. It's none of these people's business. Y'all are not. Y'all are not
To be fair,
American. Y'all are not Native
yes.
American. Y'all are immigrants at best, and some of you not
Okay.
even in America. So, like, it's none of
Yes.
your
Hello.
business if Black Americans identify with their indigenous ancestors or not. That I never
Absolutely.
understood why people who aren't Black American or Native American would get so involved in these conversations. It's insane to me.
Well, I think it goes back to like us saying about it's a big group. Like we're talking about 60 million people. Like that is already divided into maybe 5 or 6 different subgroups. So when we talk about Black Americans, like who are you talking about that are in?
So I don't think that's
technically, like
I think that's a
culturally,
thing on the internet that I've seen in the past 5 or 6 years. But what are these groups that you're talking about? The groups that people talk about are groups that honestly only exist in history, right? So yes, my family can
I'll
say
tell you this. Like I'm
my
don't
family can say,
identify.
okay, we're Louisiana Creole, whatever, da da da, right?
Well, see, I
But
don't identify as FBA. Like I don't believe that my family came from transatlantic slave trade from Africa. Like that's a whole different like group of people from a
So,
different regions. They
says
probably
you're
came from
Jamaican, aren't
13
you?
colonies.
like internal politics, right? We're not doing internal politics. These are complete foreigners. You get what I'm saying?
That's
So
fine. You know what? No,
who's
no,
the
no, 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 no,
what's
no,
his
no.
name?
This isn't gonna happen. I'm really sorry. You heard all of us speaking. You know we're not all from the same lineage as you. If it was an issue, you shouldn't have joined. I'm really sorry. Like you can't. You heard me speak. You know where I'm from. If it's an issue, you don't have to join this live. Yeah, from Europe. Yeah, you don't
Okay,
have to. You don't have to join if you're not
you're
African.
different
Look,
types of
this is.
European. Okay.
Yeah, there is. Look, this is an African man's live. Vibes is an African man, okay? This live, he's not ADOS, by the way. If you don't want to talk to Africans, you're not African, you want nothing to do with us, fine,
No,
that's
I think
perfect.
you
That's
I think you
okay.
misunderstand my
You
point.
don't have to join. And the thing is, if you were just American Indian, you wouldn't even be in these lives. You'd be in American Indian lives.
I
You get
think you
me?
misunderstand my point, Faye. Is that possible?
Do
Because
you know where I'm from, sir?
Success. I wasn't talking to you yet, right? And I wasn't referring
I,
to y'all
yeah,
specifically.
I just
Success.
asked a simple question. That's it.
You
But
need
let her.
to you
But
need
go
to
ahead. Do
find
your
me a
thing.
big spliff success because
No,
I
I just
can't
want to
I
clear
can't
this
deal
up with
tonight.
Faith. Faith, I'm not saying that you can't engage in this conversation, the broader conversation, right?
Uh,
About the relationship between Black Americans and these other immigrants or whatever. Obviously, you might have a vested interest in that conversation because I'm guessing that you have some sort of African, Caribbean, whatever ancestry, whatever, right? Which is what I'm
I
saying
have
in the
a
mix.
big family. I have all kinds of people in family, and they're in America too. I have whitey American family. I have
Yeah,
like
I don't know
actually
what
recent
you are,
everyone,
so I can't
Well,
all the
make any
did
things.
you
definitive
know
statement.
that before 1787 that all the southeast area of the United States was Caribbean? Meaning
Okay, what
Florida,
are you talking
Louisiana,
about
all of
tonight?
that was Caribbean.
What is being said right now? What?
Yeah, it's true. Like so in before 1870 1687, right? No, 1787,
Are
right?
you part Caribbean or something, Divine?
No. But I do
Uh,
understand history and how laws were changed and how people were reclassified.
Caribbean isn't some magical thing. They're the indigenous people of the Caribbean, right? Which are Taino, Arawak people. Then
Yeah,
you
those
got
same people were
enslaved.
those same
Then you
people were
got
transported to the
then you
America,
got a
the
whole bunch of
US.
enslaved Africans who were imported there. Then you have colonists, right?
Yeah, those are
So
the
I don't
people
know
that
what
were
it means to be Caribbean and then not be
no,
Caribbean. It's
so
just
I
an
think what
area.
you're thinking about is Caribbean today, and I'm not talking about Caribbeans today. I'm talking about the slave trade that happened before 1787, before the U.S. was even called the U.S. Before it was called U.S., it was just the original Americas, and even before that, it was bought by Spain and France. And Spain and France had a whole different type of governance because they controlled most of the Caribbean area. So when they took over the land, the Louisiana Purchase, and that included Florida all the way up until all
That
the way
doesn't
up to
make it Caribbean.
Chicago,
That makes it French
all of
territory or
well,
Spanish
no,
territory.
well, it was both. So they,
It's yeah. She's
they
speaking about the region and the region description. You are speaking about
so
the governance.
yeah, and
You see
so
how that works?
So
well,
there's
so
two
what I'm
different
saying
things there.
is after the governance was
Bro, what are we doing? Like, why do
no,
we have these types of weird
I think
conversations?
I wanna bring it back
But
to
Faye, what I was
the
trying to say is
hello.
this: is when I wasn't speaking on, oh, please don't speak about our people, because this is a conversation about Black Americans and these other people. That's
True.
perfectly fine.
But
What
that's
I'm
what you
saying
said.
is, when somebody says this is my ancestry, I descend from X, Y, Z. Why is it that people get to play Inspector Gadget with Black Americans' ancestry?
Inspector
That's very weird
Gadget.
to me.
because it's a
That's
weird
weird to you.
Okay.
People play Inspector Gadget with ancestry from everywhere. We're just happen
I'm
to be talking about this right now, and that is absolutely true. And in all honesty, the only reason why the conversation and the only reason why the conversation is what it is because of the young lady Divine, where she led the conversation. That's the truth of the matter. You came in after the fact to heard
Mhm.
some of the conversation, and you didn't hear all of it to understand why it got to where it did
I'm
just
not
now.
talking about y'all
Hang
specifically.
on, hang on. So then who are you talking about? I mean, it's
I'm
only
talking
us
about
here in
in
this
general when
conversation
it
having
comes
this conversation.
I'm talking about in general when it comes to the conversation around quote unquote pretendians or whatever, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about success. I'm not talking about fate. I don't know what your opinions are,
So
frankly.
so how do we respond to you talking about a general conversation when we're having a specific conversation?
Well, I can go ahead, Faye. Right. And I wasn't even complaining about that part of the conversation. So, success. Where are you from again? What parts are you from?
So I was born in Jamaica. I moved to the United States in 1980. Do the math.
Oh, you
I
sound
am
young.
52. I'm 52 years old.
What
Yeah.
the hell?
And the reason why I kept talking is because I want you to hear my accent clear as day. There's nothing in my accent that says Jamaican to you. You understand? I
Ooh, I
explained at the
wouldn't say
very
all that.
beginning, sir.
I wouldn't say all that.
There's nothing in my accent. There's nothing in my accent. If anything, you could probably try to mistake me for someone that came from the UK or something of that nature, right?
We definitely
But
wouldn't suspect you of writing.
I explained at the very beginning exactly, and that's my point because I'm from North. I'm from the North. You understand? I grew up in the North. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. You get what I'm saying? So no, I don't have a Southern drawl because that's not where my culture evolved from as a child. That's a whole different argument that we can get into. That the truth of the matter is your culture is really where you're raised. You could be physically born somewhere and I could put you somewhere else and you are going to be of that culture. Yeah?
That makes no
That
sense.
doesn't make any sense?
Yeah,
No, it
because
So you
doesn't.
don't,
if you were put in that culture, then
hang
that
on,
means you would
hang
know
on, hang
what
on.
march. No, I'm just asking. Do you
So,
know
so
about the
you
marching
don't, so you
bands
don't
and how that?
understand. Hang on, because I'll get to that because I went to Hampton University. Let's not
I
do all of
definitely
that.
want to.
No, you guys have no
He's
understanding
snapping.
of who this person is that you're talking about, right? So
I'm
let's go back to
asking.
the point that I'm trying
I'm
to make to
asking.
you. If you have a child right now and you move to China with a 2-year-old and the child that's a 2-year-old spends the next 40 years in China, that person is going to be of that culture because that is where their environment is and that's where they're coming up. What we are talking about, or what you're trying to refer to, is your ethnicity. You understand the difference? So the
Right. So
point
that
that I'm
means
making
we're
to you
American.
is you are of your environment. Yeah. And
Right.
the difference that I was trying to make to you is why I sound this way is because I'm from the North and I'm from a very particular region of the North. If I grew up in Atlanta, if I grew up in Tennessee, all the same things that I explained to you, but I came to Tennessee, I would sound just like you,
You grew up
Tree.
around
I'd
white
sound
folks,
very
brother.
similar,
You
I
Tree.
grew
don't
up
think it's
around
more.
white
Tree?
folks.
I don't think it's more about.
No, sir.
I think it's
I grew up around black people and white people.
right.
A
So
lot
Which
of
that
is
white
means
people
which
and a
come
lot
from
of
which
a
white
is
Black
which
people.
is
American
which is
experience that's
Hello.
which
not
is a whole different
monolithic.
conversation that we had at the beginning of this that I even explained to them and said what I know and what I have recognized based on my not only lived experience but the things that I've studied is listen, based on where you are from in your region, all of that is going to mold you.
Right.
Yeah, all of that is going to mold you. It's just as simple as that. And why we
I
pretend
mean,
like that's not the reality is really just kind of very narrow minded in the sense, whether it's a black person or a white person, to understand that your environment is you.
right. So my issue is that your definition of culture, I don't think it's wrong. I think it's kind of just a tortured definition of culture. Because culture is not. It's
I don't
not
even know
just
what that
that. It
means.
is. It's not just socially communicated behavior, right? Because if we just talk about socially communicated behavior, then all humans have the same culture in the way that Neanderthals had a culture and Homo habilis had a culture, right? When we're talking about culture, we're also talking about what is passed down to you, sort of that heritage, right? So white Americans and black
Absolutely.
Americans have certain things in common, right? But culturally, very much distinct from one another and have been culturally distinct for a long time, despite living
Tree,
quote unquote in the same places.
I don't think anyone in this live would disagree with exactly what you just said now.
Not even me. Not even me. And I'm in Europe. I know that very, very well. I know. I do read history, believe it
The
or not.
problem is you're disagreeing with the point that I'm making, which I know is true. It just is because it
Those are two
probably
different
works
things.
against something that you want to say, and so that you don't necessarily like it. But let's do this. Faye has a
hmm
prompt, and she has a conversation she want to have. So let's just stick to that.
So Vibes has gone on mute. I don't know what's going on, but he's put a different picture up. Originally, it was Mr. Nasheed with the Ice Adrian. I don't know what this is. He's feeling creative tonight. But I think the whole point is that a lot of this tension, at least I believe, he believes, Success believes, we believe on this channel, is actually being manufactured by agents. We talked about this earlier about how, at least in my opinion, how I think, in some cases at least, some people on this app who identify as FBA, it's like they think that foreign black people, Caribbeans, Africans, Afro Latinos are inherent threats to them. That we're here to take whatever we can from them, their jobs, their schools, their everything. We're violent, we scam, all this stuff, right? And it's like it feels like, you know, back in like 1930s Germany when things weren't going too well and a lot of YT Germans were upset because they weren't doing too hot. They were in a bit of a mess. They didn't have any or many prospects. But in that country, there was still a small number of JW people who were doing okay, right? They had the banks, they had all these different little shops going on. And the YT Germans looked at them and said, oh, how come you're doing okay while we're suffering? And we were talking about the parallels in that and how some of these FBAs are acting towards immigrant black people. You know, I think that the parallels are there. I get yelled at when I say this, but honestly, someone that studied European history like very thoroughly, I see it. And I think a lot of these FBAs are being made to believe that people from different backgrounds are their biggest threat, they're their biggest problem, and they're blaming everything they're going through on them. Like we're scapegoats in a way. And that was what we were concerned about. That was the topic of this live. And they're absolutely being manipulated. That's my opinion.
I mean, you can say the same about the panel because, like, don't identify as FBA, but you guys
That's fine.
Thing that FBA is doing. Like,
How?
if you get on the panel and you're like, oh, you're a pretendian, like you're insulting someone else's culture.
I want to say I don't agree with that because I don't know. I really don't know. If they think you're a pretendian, then I'm sorry. I disagree with that because I
that's
really
what I'm
don't
just
know.
saying. Like, I feel like it's going around like everywhere. I don't think this is more of like a FBA thing. I think this is more of an internet thing and how everybody's using the internet now and things can be said up on here versus like if you come in my face, you know, let's see if you can say that in my face, you know? So I just think the internet or social media is just like putting a flashlight on things that have already been happening on all different types around the world. Like we see how you guys think, y'all see how we think, and I think that's the culture shock, right? Because if you go your whole life for 30 years thinking about a group of people one specific way, right? And then you have a wake-up call that they are completely opposite of what you've been told, that's a shock culturally and socially. So it's kind of like what
specifically though.
Yeah, definitely like specific people. But again, that's like when you hear my story, right? And you hear, oh, I was always told that I wasn't African. Like we never identified as African. We always put American Indian on our census, but we do associate with the Black American experience. That doesn't mean that like we all came from Africa. It means that there was a lot of issues going on in America when it came to colonialism, transatlantic slave trade, and some of that stuff got hidden. And they only wanted a highlight of a certain narrative because the government wanted to hide what they were really doing, and that was actually child pedophilia.
You have to be careful on this platform.
Yeah.
Say PDF instead.
Oh, sorry, PDF files, right?
Yeah.
Because it's better to say that, oh, we enslaved Africans, right? Than to say that technically we enslaved everyone and we identified everybody as African and then we took them when they were children, including the Native Americans, including the white tea kids too, you know, because they don't talk about that either. They don't talk about how they also enslaved the children, you know, in Europe, brought them over here under the context of them being good American citizens. And then they ended up finding these children in mining businesses, like working for free, like little babies, 3 years old, being unalived in gold mining. So we don't talk about that hidden history because it's better to say, oh, well, you know, it was just Africans than to go around saying, hey, this whole country was built off of human trafficking and PDF files. It's way better to say it that way.
I think that
Are you guys getting along in here? Sorry guys, I'm at the beach. Yo,
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that enslavement wasn't
What's up,
just
bestie? How you
Africans. It
doing?
was
and
literally every
my
single
American
person.
Indian sister in the house. American sister in the
Every single
house.
person was enslaved.
Miss Faye. Hi, Miss
No,
Faye.
I'm not meeting you. Hello.
High success.
How
Hello. Sorry, I'm with some chilling. So what
That's
is the
fine.
conversation, guys? I've been missing out, but I can
It
already tell what it
spiraled.
is.
We
If Divine's
started.
up here
We're trying
and
to
we
Oh
get
my
it
got
going.
Africans
gosh.
on here, I already know. Are we
We
getting along though?
in
Are we like? I
okay.
guess.
I will say
Are
one
we
thing. It's chill.
invalidating each other's identity? Or are we? Yeah. Go ahead, Faye.
It's yeah. It's chill, but it's taking a few turns. We're talking about the history of exploitation in America and how miners are being literally miners. So it's a bit unique, a bit eccentric, but it's not like we're cool. No one's being mean.
Yeah, I mean, only like
It's not
the
out of this
problem
world.
is
Well,
it was
Divine,
just
hold on,
one
Divine. So
narrative.
as soon as Divine gets in the Divine's the devil's advocate. I'm not even gonna lie. All right. So
All about you.
yeah, straight up, she's the
But
devil's advocate. But regardless of the fact, we still love you, sister. You know, we over here talking about FBAs. I don't know why the American Indians get involved. You know what I mean?
You got an Indian up there, to be fair.
Yeah, you got an Indian up there
You
fighting
got the
us.
whole
I mean,
headdress and
I
everything.
just brought that prompt. I saw Divine come in the. I saw Divine. I was like, we
Why
gotta
they
talk about this.
stomping on Africa? I didn't even see that at the bottom.
Is that
I don't know
Paramore that
why.
you're listening to back
You
there?
tell us. You tell us, Divine. You tell us why they're stomping on Africa. You tell me.
Yo, what's his name again? Vibes. Do I hear white women laughing in the background?
No, my new
That is
name.
so specific.
My new name is Anti FBA Mama Africa. That's my username. Read it and weep. Now this is my second account, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Anyways, bro,
Yeah,
good to
so
see you
again,
again, Tree. Last time I had to boot you. I don't know what happened last time. Oh, here comes your
He's
sister.
behaving himself. He's behaving
Here comes
himself.
your sister.
tonight.
Here comes your sister, Divine. You better tell her to relax
Oh
up
my
there.
gosh, no. Vibes. If it's just gonna be
Ja.
all like Amerindians, I can't do it tonight. I'm dazed from my period, and I'm angry at the world.
I don't know what it
I
is gonna
can't
be.
deal with the
Faye,
stress.
just know that I'm African. You're my African sister. We gotta stick together. We gotta lock in right now. Yeah.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what makes you different than FBA if you're gonna say that?
Oh, but success. I need the biggest
Thing I'm
split
not
you
An
at.
can
FBA is
find,
never an
please.
American Indian. Let me tell you that. Hold on, guys. Hold on. All right,
Just
let me
send me the address so I can get it
tell
to
you
you.
why, Divine. I brought this prompt.
No, because she specifically
All
said
right, guys, relax.
that
if
FBAs
you're-
are the people that are doing this extremist stuff. And I'm like, well, I just got on this panel and I haven't disrespected anybody or said that I'm having a headache or I'm PMSing because of somebody talking. So I what makes you different than the FBA? That's all.
No, but Divine, are you like an FBA apologist? Are you speaking for FBAs,
I don't know.
or are you a black?
I'm pro truth. That's all I am. I'm pro non hypocrites. That's what I am. You know, I don't care who you are. You could be a black American, an FBA, an indigenous person. I'm gonna call you out if you're doing something that does not make sense.
Oh,
Yeah, likewise. I will call you out every time it don't make sense to me. But it don't matter. At the end of the day, we're not going to find a middle ground about timelines. Dark-skinned people in Europe, dark-skinned people today, tomorrow, yesterday, and whatever 10,000 years from now. You guys just gotta. I feel like everybody could just. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. We're proud to be Africans.
Okay.
They can't take that away
Oh
from
my
us.
gosh.
And if anybody's trying to, if any black skinned people is, so we have confusion about this Black American and what is the FA? All right, there's a distinction. All right, let me make that distinction very clear to every single one of you. Oh, you remember now? Do you want to get? Yeah, and I'm Eritrean. And so you started a war. You started a war. You don't even know what you're starting, but you're starting shit.
But you're both. So
Are
how's that
Huh?
wrong?
FBAs from Africa? Yes or no? That's the
You're both
question.
Eritrean and Ethiopian.
I'm about
Mm,
I'm an Aboriginal American. I don't know what you're
hmm
talking
Oh,
about.
How old are you?
so
How old
the
are you?
same people. Just
Jesus
like you
Christ,
house
so.
Negroes and you feel Negroes, right? Y'all the same. The same. Y'all
You
the
said
same.
what?
So I don't want to get African. Get out of Africa. Tree. Get out of tree. Get out. Oh, sorry. I'm yelling in front of all these people. Sorry.
No, I'll deal
Get
with it.
out
You
of
go have your fun.
African
Go
business, bro.
party.
Like
Have
get
fun.
away from our politics. Get away
I
from.
think the question, yeah.
I mean, look, I even asked, like, if you're not
I saw you. I see you.
uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, and I'm proud,
So,
and I see your fucking
what is the
FBA ass up
conversation?
in line like us.
Divine, what is the
you know what?
conversation?
The conversation, we're having a talent show. We're just having fun tonight. We're
So
not even doing
Tree, you're just
anything
like I am,
seriously.
bro. Tree, can you just stay
But what about
muted,
the
bro?
prompt?
I want to hear. I don't know success. Can we
Say that one more
other
time.
people
You were
What?
breaking up a little bit.
get introduced?
Oh boy.
What's going on?
What was this question?
Vibes is
What is
cutting out.
I've never seen
Okay.
success.
Yeah, I realize that you're
Sorry. Can
talking
you
to
guys
me, but
introduce
I
success?
can't really hear.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, we did. I mean, not for the new viewers though. We can do it again.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead, Faye. You
he's
can.
breaking up. So
No,
success,
I'm
do you
like
want
the
to
beach.
reintroduce
Okay, sorry.
yourself? Vibes, go have
Sure.
fun at the beach. We're fine. Trust me.
So I am going to be considered an interesting hybrid because, as I have explained previously, I was born in Jamaica. I'm 50 plus years old. I've lived in the United States since 1980.
Oh.
I'm from the North, from Boston very specifically. Tree doesn't like the fact that I grew up with Black people and white people. He's trying to dictate for the world that
You
I
sound
grew up
very
with white
young.
people. I grew up with white people because of
Wait,
my accent.
Josh.
When he doesn't understand that the only reason I sound this way is because I am the child of an English teacher. Oh, it was for you, sir. You notice I didn't mention nobody else. I mentioned it for you.
I don't think it's about tone. I
Hold
think it's
on.
like you have a vibrant voice. Yeah.
Appreciate that, Divine.
No,
I
listen,
appreciate that.
bro. If
I
you
don't think that has anything to do
okay,
with like.
can you hear me? Can you hear me, my brother? Can you guys hear me?
I'm hearing you. Yeah, we are,
Vibes,
but
can
you're
you,
kind of
hear me
do
or
me
no?
a favor?
I heard
Vibes,
nothing but a big.
Yes,
I
we can
heard
hear you
nothing
now.
but
We
a
can hear you
big.
now.
Vibes, just one thing. Can you maybe put the prop back to the old one, please? Because it makes more sense. Vibes. Hello?
Hey, what did you want,
Can
Faye?
you put the
I'm lagging.
put
I'm
the
lagging.
prompt back to the old one? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna type it, don't worry.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes more sense. 'Cause
This
one's
one
kinda
was
confusing
just I just wanted. I got you. I had my American Indians up here, my Moors, my MUURS, sisters and brothers from the diaspora. All right, it's still the diaspora, right? Black diaspora, the African thing. Like, I mean, if you have more in relation to white,
That's why we need to change it back because it makes more sense. It's about FBA stuff. This is just confusing people.
All right,
Okay.
Faye, I got you. I got Faye. I got you. I just wanted to say this, guys. I wanted to say that. I forgot what I wanted to say, but here, let's.
Just go get drunk. Stop hanging around here.
Yeah, it's Friday night.
Yeah.
Whoa! No one's drunk here. I'm sober as a. sober as a sober normie, okay?
Yeah, you sound like it. Yeah.
Guys,
Isn't it like a new slang or something when y'all kids be saying you res?
again, don't disrespect my intelligence.
I just heard
Anyways,
res and
guys,
I've heard that before. I'm
fun.
like, what
As
does
a
that
host,
mean?
I'll just let you guys run this. Let you guys run this live.
I got a
All right,
question.
excuse me.
I got a question.
Trey, I don't have an answer for you. I never have an answer for you, bro. Everything I tell
Put your
you,
injera.
you want to
Do you
deflect
put
and you want
Tapatio on
to
your injera?
Sorry, what'd you say?
Do you put Tapatio on your injera?
Tapatio on the injera, Tapatio on. You know what? I don't think so. So, anyways, what'd you say? I couldn't hear you. Look, people are moving away from me.
Because you need to go and have
Anyways, Tree, you already
fun.
know, bro.
Leave the
You can be on your
live.
best.
Crazy though. That's crazy.
No, I can regulate shit. Tree wants to think he's the roots, bro, but you're just the branches and the leaves, all right? You don't have roots. You don't have roots, bro, all right? We have roots. We're proud of our roots. You're not proud of our roots, but being out of our roots. That's the fucking issue.
Then
That's the
you're
problem.
standing in the shade of a
I'm
tree that you
slandering
never
you
planted.
already?
You
No, you're
Nobody asked
standing in the
you.
shade
Nobody
of a
asked you
tree
no
you never
question.
planted.
I'm trying to mute you, but it won't work. I'm stuck at the beach.
okay?
I got bad connect.
Vibes. Go have
It'll work
fun.
now, huh, Tree?
Go get turned up.
All
And
right.
I'll
Anyways,
behave. I'll
Faye,
make
go
sure he
ahead.
behaves.
Faye and Divine. I feel like Divine and Faye are gonna be. I feel like Divine and Frank,
We're gonna make sure.
Faye are gonna be
We're gonna
good
make sure
friends
the
at the
guys
end of the day.
behave. Okay. Okay.
All right.
So
Just let me
this is a
know. Hey,
much.
yo, women, my queens, let me know. Let me know if you need any masculine kind of energy back in this panel. Bye. Peace. I'm gonna have a good time.
Oh please, Tree.
Tree trying to start something.
He's meant to be on his best behavior, and he's doing this. Tree.
Starting something.
Right.
They're like there's in the Bloods and the Crips. You know, they interrogate you. Like, think about my dad now, bro. Don't let me drag you, Tree. Okay. Don't be talking about my family. Don't be asking about my family. All right.
You always down, Tree, and you
I love that the connection is so bad that he doesn't get my trolling. It makes it even better. So are you saying that FBA is the opposite of MAGA? Because that's what this image says, that FBA is the opposite of MAGA, that they are righteous, righteous patriotic crusaders for a greater America. Whereas MAGA is the opposite. It's the mirror of FBA.
Ratchet? What'd you say?
You're making FBA seem like heroes because you're saying FBA are the negative of MAGA. So you're saying FBA really are the heroes.
There are black MAGAs. There are black MAGAs. There are black MAGAs. There are black MAGAs. There are FBA MAGAs.
This conversation is hitting a level of
no. It's just
lowbrow, extremely unintelligent. This is where I exit.
Low vibration.
Bro said the wildest thing. I'm talking about Tree. Tree really. I'm just saying. Tree. Like, bro, what are you saying, bro?
You know, he succeeds wherever he comes in and wherever he exited. All right, success. Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Don't worry about it. Anyways, Tree is just a troll, you know. And
really?
So
why did he leave?
I guess. You were the intellectual knowledge that we needed to hear from someone that entertained us for I don't know how long. Right?
Madness.
Anyways, guys, I am tipsy. I'm sorry. You know, I should apologize. Only to Faye and Divine. You know, I'm not gonna apologize to Tree or Success. You know. But regardless of the fact, I'm out. I keep saying I'm leaving, but I keep coming back in. I'm sorry. I'm here.
I don't know. There's not a lot of people in the requests, I don't think. Oh, no? No, it's just us. Shoot. Thank you, Vibes. That makes a lot more sense.
So,
Mhm.
like I was saying before, Africans weren't the only ones enslaved here. There are a lot of, prisoners of wars and white people too that were that were enslaved. So it's so funny because, like, with me being indigenous, right? When I hear a white tea person say, "You were a slave," and when I hear an Indian person or Native person go, "No, you're a slave," or even just like, who else was enslaved? It was so many people enslaved here. It's crazy.
Yeah, there was
That
even Japanese internment camps. I know that for a fact. Yeah,
yeah.
Japanese,
So
Chinese people. Yeah.
the crazy part is that the Chinese, when they did the railroads, they were actually right by Oklahoma when all of this went down with the Trail of Tears. And they actually won reparations through the government, right? The government granted them access to be called Native American.
Oh,
You
what?
know that? Yeah.
I
Because
did not
they
know that.
know, so because being a lot of people keep understanding that race was invented in the Americas. Like, it literally was invented. So the reason why we all have these conversations and it's going left field, right, is because, well, one, when you come from America, Black is a nationality, it's an ethnicity, it's all of that. But in another country, right, Black could just mean an ethnicity. Whereas where we grew up, right, the word Black was not called Black because, like, that's who we were. It was literally just a social status, just like the being called white. That was just a social status. It had nothing to do with race, actually. So that's why when we hear the word Black and we're like, everybody's calling themselves Black, we're like, why are you calling yourself a black color? Because in our head, that it just seems more like a culture thing than it does an ethnicity. So when we talk, I know, like, over time the word has changed, but initially the word black and white only meant two things. You were either white or you were a slave. You were a person of privilege or you were not. That's it. So you could come over here from Ireland, and if you had ruddy skin color, if your people was working those fields, right, the ones where the potato famine happened, when they came over here, they were slaves. If you came from France, right, and your people was controlling a certain part of the Louisiana Purchase, right, and your people got wiped out with the Choctaw, the Chickasaws, and the British, you were a prisoner of war. You also became a slave. That is why when we talk about Black Americans, right, everybody want to focus on just Africans, but that's furthest from the truth. It's furthest from the truth because the fact that you got to understand how the Black American was created in the first place. We were literally created as a breeding camp for all different types of people. And that included the white people as well who were enslaved here, and the Black Europeans, and the Native Americans. Like, no one talks about the Indian slave trade that happened and it was longer than the African slave trade. But all of that is one, it's like you have a bunch of pennies, right? And then, well, let's say you have a bunch of coins in your hand, right? You just dug up all these different coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, all of that. But then you choose to just throw pennies at everybody. You're just throwing pennies. And so everybody's looking at you like, why are you throwing pennies? And you keep saying, no, I'm throwing coins. That's literally, that was probably a bad example. But, like, do you get what I mean? It's like, it wasn't just this center thing about Africans. It had everything to do with status and who you were at that time. and what they viewed you as. Like, it wasn't until the 1960s that any person in the Americas were allowed to even identify themselves. No one talks about that. No one talks about the fact that everybody up until 1960 were not allowed to identify themselves. That means if a census representative came to your door, they looked at you one time and they checked the box. You could have been black, but appeared as mixed. You went down as a mulatto. You could have been white and appeared as black. You went down as black. They only did it based off a certain type of people. And those type of people were pale skin, very light, white, and of status. You had to have money. If you did not have that, you could be the whitest person or the tawniest person from Europe. If you didn't have that, you was considered a Negro. You're written down as black. And this is why I went back to when we talk about DNA, right? We talk about all of this ethnicities and stuff. A lot of time when black Americans do their so-called DNA, right, it's going to come off that we're broadly West African and Europe. That's it. White and black people. And they don't want to talk about the indigenous side. They don't want to talk about how the indigenous had a whole bunch of mess going on with them as well. And how they were like, no one talks about the biggest and bloodiest war, WAR that happened in the American history. And it wasn't the American Revolution. And it definitely wasn't 1776, but it was actually the Choctaws versus the Chickasaws, which were the pioneers of when the U.S. was able to buy all of the United States. It started because of that war. And a lot of people don't know about those indigenous people down there and how when they went through that war, a lot of things had a big turnover rate as far as being reclassified. Like, you could still live in Mississippi, but if you was in Mississippi all your life, your family was there all your life, and there's WARs going on around there, right? You consider yourselves Caribbean. You consider yourself an indigenous. Just because you stayed in the same place, but the government changed, doesn't mean that your people change. You still live the way you lived. Your people have always been there. They're going to still pass down those, whatever it is, whatever culture. So, yeah. One day they woke up and they thought they were Caribbean, and next thing you moment, the United States bought all of Louisiana and Mississippi, and they said, nope, you're not Caribbean anymore. You're not indigenous. You, my friends, are Negro now. Some people refuse it. Some people just said, fuck it. Did not matter. It didn't fight. And I think that's where the confusion is coming from, because we're not really talking about history. We're just talking about what we think history was. And who knows their history better than anyone else? Black Americans, because they went through it. Their ancestors went through it. So they actually saw what was going on. They actually saw them being changed over from an indigenous person over into a Negroid. And if they said anything, they would be executed. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie called The Long Walk that came out. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Like, if you go watch that movie, that's literally what happened. If you told anybody in your area that you was indigenous, you will get got. It was it was like the very first Holocaust. Like, if you identified as a certain person, you will be terminated. No one talks about how Black Wall Street, everybody loves
The
talking
fact
about Black Wall
remains,
Street and black this.
the fact,
And no one talks about that Black Wall Street was actually on a Native American allotment. It was on a indigenous land that was bought by indigenous people, that
yeah,
was given to indigenous people.
and that's the
Oh man, like, Vibes, you're going in and out. I can't hear nothing.
Black Americans, like it's nothing. Status that does not. So again, the nuance of black, right? The nuance that these FBAs don't understand is that black was sub-Saharan African, right? Even on the American census, even though that's what the government shot out there and put out there, that's how people chose to self-identify as. You always have to put the so again, are American Indians, black indigenous people, are they checking off the native box, the Native American box? Because I know Native American is semantics too, right? Because I love how the
I will tell you
FBA say
this.
that they're Native Americans too. When they say native, they mean like locality, like they're locals. They've been here for quite some time. They're not saying indigenous, right? But they're saying that,
Yeah,
like
that
Claude
that
Anderson would
is
say.
serious away. Yeah.
Uh
I'll
huh.
tell you this. My mother, myself, and my grandmother, we've always identified ourselves as American Indian. Every time we put, even on the census, we always put down that we are American Indian. But when they read it, they do not identify us as that. They still treat us like we're black,
Do you
even
go
when we
for
Right, because you
identify
look.
as American Indian.
do,
Right. So what I'm saying about this, if you're gonna deconstruct like words, right? So let's deconstruct Indian, right? Indian was, again, it's a classification of the government. It is not true when Christopher Columbus sailed the seas, he thought he was gonna go to India. He landed in Mexico. He landed in the Caribbean, and then he called them all Indians, right? So even that term has its own. But I can agree that that's the only term that gives you land and property rights and
No,
gives
it's
you a
not even
stake back
about.
in the American land. But
No,
but
it's not even about that.
hold on, Divine, hold on. I ain't done with this thought. So
It's a pretty
so
background.
Indian is a misnomer. Indian is a misnomer, right? But it's something that you're going to classify yourself as because that's how you get the back pay, or that's how you get the YT people that always have a foot on all our necks. That's how you can get reparations, your own form of reparations, your own restorative justice, right? But again, that's my biggest hang up, like people aligning themselves with this government. And obviously there has to be a way of like conducting yourself with these YT people, and they only recognize you if you're federally recognized, if you're civilized,
I
if you
wouldn't care. Like
if you a
even
house Negro, if you a field Negro, I don't care either. If you're legal, I don't care either. But that's that bullshit, like, because people like to just jump. I don't know. So, anyways, my question redirected to you. Okay, so knowing that Indian is a misnomer as well, are you agreeing with me that this is the only kind of way that lays claim to like some sort of Aboriginal,
I mean, like I think it's like paper. It's more so like, yeah, like you said, land and paper trail, right? Because when my son gets older, right, and he decides he wants to, go pull research and do history on, ancestry and figure out where his families came from, right? That's going to say a lot when you identify as something. Every time you go to your school, every time you go to the doctor, whatever you write down, that's what the census is going to put in your history log on the census, right? So just like right now, my fourth great grandchild will look back and say, no, Divine said that she was indigenous. Like, this doesn't say she's African. It says that, our family came from the Americas. So they can do with that as they will. But I'm not going to change up something that's been going on for centuries in my family. Like, why would I just randomly say I'm African American when no one in my family taught me that? And the only reason why that name even came up in the first place was in the 1980s because some man got on TV and said it when no Black American agreed on it. Because there's way more Black Americans than you think. They put down that there's only 13% of us, but there's a lot more because, again, all of us do not identify as African Americans. So that is YT people's biggest fear, that they really don't know how many of us actually are here in the Americas. They only have what their numbers show. And that's us fighting back, right? Because that's why they're getting down on these census right now. It's to the point where they're even telling white people that y'all need to identify yourselves. Are you French? Are you like, it's literally, we're crashing out on TikTok because kids 18 years old going to school, right? And they're clicking boxes and the box is asking them what type of white you are. Because now they're trying to get, like, when Black Americans say, like, immigrants literally move out the way, like, this is not your fight. This is what we mean. Like, there's a reason why our ancestors told us to never put African on the census. Like, we've been doing this for centuries. And so when I look at it, right, I'm looking at the paper trail of what my ancestors wrote down, right? Because again, these are our ancestors from hundreds of years ago, right? So if I'm pulling an Indian rose, right, and I kind of noticed this when I pulled the Indian rose, I couldn't find my great grandmother on the Indian census, but I was able to find her mother and her mother's mother. But my ancestors actually wrote some type of like number down. I didn't know that it was a date. It said like July 16th, 18 something. I can't remember the actual date. But I found out that that was my great grandmother's birthday. And so apparently, but I found out that that was my great grandmother's birthday. And so apparently I need to get her documented because at that time, remember, a lot of things were getting moved. A lot of Indians were being reclassified. You had some that were mixing with white people and they were allowed to stay on the census. And the ones that continued to stay with their own tribes or even mix with Africans and other people that were not white, they were taken off of the census. So I think what ended up happening, right, is they wanted to get my great grandmother on that roll, right? And so you could tell they scribbled something and then they wrote a date. But when I went back to look at it, I was like, oh, this match up with the same, like it wasn't the exact birthday, but it was very close. And see, that's why I'm saying they drop clues in these paperworks to tell us things. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that people are really, like, Black Americans are really reading census and they're literally reading about their families and what their families went through. And like some of us, they're literally dropping hints in the paperwork for us to read and go, oh, crap, they were right. And I see why they were trying to hide certain things. So again, like I would never, go by somebody that was African and tell me that my bloodline, I would never disrespect my great grandmother just because somebody else that I'm African. No, I'm going to respect the people that were in this land and went through whatever they went through, right? I'm going to go to their graves and I'm put down flowers on their graves and what they did over the years of being here, right? I'm not going to go all the way to Africa and go find some ancestors that is like 50 or 60 generations back when you haven't even gone to your grandmother's freaking, like, that doesn't make sense to me. You haven't even gone to your grandmother's grave and put flowers down, but you're going to fly all the way to Africa to go find some people that you related to 60,000 years ago. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And I don't think any immigrant would do the same. I don't think any grim immigrant would come to the Americas, identify as American, and then everybody tell them that they're American, and then tell them to only represent their American family. They would not do that. They would not do that to their people in their land. So why would people expect Black Americans to do that? That doesn't make sense. Did everybody fall off?
Hello? True? It's like anyone in here. Like, what? What? Yo. I don't know if anyone's actually in here or what, but this, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like, things are freezing. I don't know if anyone can hear each other. I don't know if anyone can hear me.